This will be my longest video I've ever made on YouTube because the Fed is cutting rates today, and I have to show you what has happened in the past when the Fed cuts rates. Okay, so make sure you grab your coffee, make sure you're sitting somewhere or driving. Now you can listen as I kind of go through this, and don't forget to drop a like. Would always appreciate that. So we can push this information out to more people. It's very, very important. And make sure you subscribe to the channel after watching this video if you like information like this, because I'm going to be giving it to you every single day. So this is what we're going to do today, guys. We're going to talk about the SPY, SPY. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about when the Fed cuts rates. I'm going to show you the months and the years. We're also going to talk about the S&P 500 history. You could see right here in a second. And we're going to talk about Jasmy at the very end of this video. So stay tuned for the Jasmy information that you need to know. Now, some things we want to look at with the SPY. So first, let's actually go here. So this is federal funds rate history, 1990 to 2024. Okay, so this goes back all the way back, and we could talk about the 1990s when they cut rates completely. But I really want us to look at, I think this is important, understanding that in 1994, 1995, a soft landing, the Fed raised rates 7 times. Okay, so remember those dates, 1994, 1995, they raised rates, but then 1995, 1996, they cut rates. Now this looks similar to 2015 to 2018. Let me show you real quick. So in 2000, over here, 2015 to 2018, you can see they raised rates just like they did in down here in 90, where are we at? In 94, 95. Okay, so 2005 to 2015 to 2018. So what does this tell us? Okay, and this is kind of where I think we are. In 2019, they cut rates 3 times. And in 2020, we had the COVID crash and they cut rates 2 times. So now let's go back. In 1994, 95, raised rates just like 2015, 2018. In 95, 96, they cut rates, kind of like 2019. Okay, they raised rates. And then 1998, they cut rates again 3 times. Okay, so the first thing I want us to analyze, because this is where I think we might be with this rate cut, is I think we might be in 1998 timeframe. Okay, I don't think a market crash will come yet. I do think one is around the corner, maybe 6 to 18 months out. Okay, and I think that's going to have to do with crypto and stocks. By the way, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my own opinion, but I'm going to show you some charts that might align with exactly what I'm saying. So September 1998 to November 1998. The Fed cut rates 3 times, 25 times each. Okay, so let's look at that with the SPY. September to November 1998. So if we go back, we are way back here. Okay, so this is when the Fed cut rates. July was right here. We had a short-term top. August, big red candle. September. So they cut rates September 1998. Okay, the SPY got as high as 106 and as low as 95. They cut rates again in October. You could see the SPY was actually moving up though. They cut rates again in November. So basically, guys, this is interesting because in September 1998 was their first rate cut after, well, 1995 was also, but after they started hiking rates, 1994, 1995. So this was the first rate cut, and then it continued through November. But the SPY went on a monster rally for 2 more years. Then we had the dot-com bubble, okay, where it started to move much lower. So then as we continue on, so that's my first initial thought, right, is we may be right here, where we may have another 6 months, maybe a year in us before a major correction, okay? And that would also align with the Bitcoin halving event, which just happened a couple months ago. That would align with elections right around the corner. They probably don't want to crash the market right now with elections it's usually very bullish when elections are around the corner. So this tells me that we're still good as of right now with crypto and stocks. Okay. So now let's continue. So then in 1998, they dropped rates, and then they started to raise rates again. 1999, 2000, the dot-com boom. Now this was over here, all over here. We're still moving up, and then it crashed, right? So then they had to completely cut rates. This was a lot of rate cuts right here. We have 50s, we have 25s. It was all over the place, okay? And the market obviously crashed. And then we went into this. So why do I think this may be where we're at today? If we look at the SPY today, there are some concerning factors that you want to be aware of. Is one, we've touched the 1.618 level, which could be a huge place to reject from this point to this point on Fibonacci. We're also very high on the stochastic, which you could see before once we curl. It's not necessarily like we're in a bear market, but it could just start to have some pullbacks. And I think we might chop around up a little higher. I think we could get a lot higher for the SPY, but also the RSI is creating negative divergence. Right now we're at 70 on a monthly time frame. So let me know down below, where do you think these rate cuts will lead us to with the SPY? Now, if we look at Bitcoin, interesting, in 2020, right here, the Fed cut rates. So March 2020, I'm going to show you. Let's go to March 2020. March, 3 times they cut rates, 50 and 100. Okay. So what happened in March for Bitcoin? Let me zoom in for you. In March for Bitcoin was a red month. Okay. But then it got very bullish. Okay. So the question is this where we are today? Is it going to be a 1998, rate cut where stocks will be bullish? Is it going to be a 2020 rate cut where Bitcoin will then become bullish? But also in 2019, so let's talk about this now. The Fed raised rates 2015 to 2018, okay? Kind of like what they did here, right? In 2022, 2023, they raised rates, okay? Same concept, raised rates. Now, this obviously didn't get as high as we are today. I mean, we got as high as 5.5, but still, they were raising rates. 2019 was the first rate cut, August 1st of 2019. So where was Bitcoin August 1st of 2019? So August 1st of 2019, Bitcoin was up here. So it was bearish for a couple months. September and October, it also dropped rates. Dropped rates. Bearish. But then they finally did 2020, a more drastic rate cut. And that actually was very bullish for Bitcoin and the market. Okay. So today's going to be very interesting. It's going to tell a lot of what's to come in the future. It's going to tell us if Bitcoin is about to crash even lower for months, or if we literally are at a turnaround spot. Another thing you'll want to note is the stochastic looks very similar to how it did in 2020. Okay. The RSI looks very similar to how it did in 2020. You could see it's in a downtrend. We're in a downtrend. Okay. Stochastic downtrend. Stochastic downtrend. This thing is ready to curl, and I think we're going to go on a massive rally. So I think Bitcoin is going to do something like this. We're obviously above the 21 EMA on a monthly time frame, which is great, guys. Now, be aware, this could have a sharp decline and then a massive rally. We could come down here to the high 40s, maybe, but who cares at the end of the day? Because if we understand what history has shown us recently, okay, this could definitely happen. So what does this mean? If Bitcoin gets up to 120,000, we test this trend line right here. What does that do for Jasmy? Well, for Jasmy, same story, guys. Right now, we're actually below the 21 EMA on a daily time frame. But if we look at a weekly, we're still below it. And if we look at a monthly, we are still below it, but we're right there. Okay. So I really like to look at weekly for altcoins because that kind of tells you when to buy and when to sell. But still, Jasmy will have a massive rally. We're creating a double bottom right here. Okay. The RSI has just broken this downtrend. So now it might take a couple weeks to start the uptrend. But we really got to think about this. I do think, like we know, the Fed is going to cut rates today. If it's like 1998, that's very bullish for stocks. If it's like 2020, that's very bullish for stocks. But even in 2019, when the Fed cut rates right here, we could be right here, which means we could have a couple months of Bitcoin moving down. We could be in a downtrend for a little bit, right? We could test the 21 EMA again, like we did here. If you go back to 2019, Bitcoin did the same thing. It was up here in June of 2019, came back down, tested it, and then went on a massive rally. So if you look at the last top of June 2019, it then topped again in November of 2021. So a little over 2 years later, it went on a massive rally. So that's the question, guys. Is the top going to be in about 12 to 18 months? Okay. And right now is the perfect time to buy stocks in crypto. Or are we about to head into a 2007, 2008 depression? I don't think that's the case. I think it's more 1998 for the SPY, when the SPY was way back here, right? Way back there that I showed you guys. I think a crash is coming. I don't think it's this year, and I don't think it's going to happen over the next 6 months at least. Okay. And for Bitcoin, I think, again, ultimately we're going to move much higher, but we could have a little bit of a pullback. And guys, if we pull back down to here, this is when I will be buying more Bitcoin. If we test the 21 EMA like we did back here, and if the stochastic and RSI is lining up perfectly, it's time to buy. Okay. Of course, if you guys want to learn more about this, you can join the Patreon down below. Our Discord is hot this morning. We're having these conversations. We've been talking all about it. But again, for Jasmy, it's looking very solid right now. You just got to be patient, in my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And by the way, guys, I don't know where you buy your crypto, where you trade your crypto. I feel like you're going to have to swap a lot of crypto as we enter this bull run. Give you an example. My top 3 holdings are Dogecoin, Jasmy, and XRP. No specific order, but that's where I have most of my money. And I don't know if they're all going to run at the same time. So I plan to trade it and buy the dips, right? I want to get max profit. So you guys can actually click the links out down below and check out Caleb and Brown. I recently partnered with them. They're literally just like Coinbase, except there's some differences. They have a flat fee, which I think is better than Coinbase, because Coinbase actually charges you more fees. They have hidden fees, and they manipulate the price of Bitcoin and all the altcoins that you buy. So when you go to Coinbase and you buy crypto, it's actually being manipulated. It's a lot higher than what you're actually buying. With Caleb and Brown, it's the actual cost. 60,000 is 60,000 when you buy it. You also get your own personal broker who will meet with you and talk with you, like for free. It's crazy. I signed up. It took me 5 minutes. You just upload your license, you take a picture and put your information in, and then you could start trading right away. I got an email right away. I mean, these guys are just on it, right? So I definitely check them out if you're looking to up your game with crypto. They have a lot of great information, a lot of great tools and resources. Link is down below again. But again, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Where do you think we are with the SPY? You can see we're also at very high points. We're topping right now. We're creating negative divergence on a monthly time frame where the RSI is creating a lower high and the asset's creating a higher high. This is bearish, right? You see it over here too, but it doesn't mean it's bearish right now, because look at this. The SPY hit 85 back in January of 2018, and they made a lower high. The asset moved higher. We had a couple months of a pullback. Okay. Negative divergence was forming. Obviously, we pulled back, and then we rallied even higher. We created negative divergence again, and we pulled back again. This was like COVID, but it's only 2 months of red, and then it continues higher. So again, negative divergence, asset moves higher. This is a lower high from this point and this point. So then we crash. So what's going to happen now? We're making a lower high, okay, with the RSI, but the asset making a higher high. So we could see some pullbacks, but ultimately, I think we're still in a bull trend. But I do think a massive crash is coming, kind of like what happened here. 2022 was a really bad month to be invested in the stock market, especially if you're just buying and holding. So you just want to be aware. You want to be aware. But we have to look at every variable out there. With the Bitcoin halving event, we have elections around the corner, and I just believe Bitcoin will tend to do something like this. I believe Jasmy will tend to move much higher. And I think now is the time to buy and hold, guys, right? And have more of a long-term vision. That's really how I'm doing this. Again, today's going to tell us a lot. So make sure you watch that. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I hope this video was helpful. You know, it's a longer video. Let me know if you like this style of things. If you want to be a part of this channel, make sure you subscribe. And we will absolutely see you guys on the next one.